Hey guys, and welcome back to another round of Q&A with Mamas Uncut, where we answer your anonymous questions about parenthood, mothering, relationships, and so much more. Again, we got Lisa and Mindy. Hey guys.
Hello. Good morning, everybody.
All right, let's get started with some questions. I need some advice. I have a 23-year-old daughter with marital problems who has moved in with me and my husband and two young children. My husband does not want her here because of issues with her living with us before. She was a teenager then and did not really follow rules, didn't clean up after herself, coming home in the middle of the night, etc. She agreed to pay some rent and live to our rules. Now she has been here for 2 weeks and we found out that she is seeing a new guy while she is still married. My husband and I do not agree with this. Plus, this guy is not a good choice of man. I have told her that she needs to stop it until she is out of her marriage and gets her life together, but she just blows me off and acts like she can do whatever she wants. Should I kick her out even though she can't afford to live on her own? If I let her stay, I'm afraid it's going to cause problems with my husband and me. Please, no rude comments. Thoughts?
You want to start, Mindy, or you want me to start?
Yeah, I guess I'll go, but she's an adult. So there's that portion of the equation. No, you can't make her make any decisions. You can tell her all you want, but if you do, there is the stipulation that she's living at your house. If you really wanted to lay a firm boundary down and say, listen, if you're going to be living here, we require X, Y, and Z for our hospitality of letting you live here while you can't afford it otherwise. So I think if you set that up and if having the boyfriend is part of that, fine. But it sounds like these parents are pretty involved in what's going on with their daughter, and she's an adult. And I think they need to take that step back and realize that. They might not like the guy that she's dating. They might not like the fact that she's dating somebody while she's technically married, but that's really at the end of the day, not anything they can control. And they need to let go of that a bit, which is so difficult, but it's just the truth.
Oh, look, totally agree. I would add one other element to it. So I have fairly strong feelings about moving home with your parents in general, especially if you've got children. And I get needing to do that maybe for a period of time, for example, while the daughter gets on her feet. But I think the parents need to be clear that it is 3 months, 6 months, it's a finite period of time. And in that environment, if she's going to, take decisions that the parents don't like, fine, everybody agrees on the rules that this is not the long-term living environment, because I just don't think it's healthy for the kids to see their mom and their parents not be able to be independent and live on their own. And if the mom lived with them, that's very different. I'm sorry, if the grandma lived with the family, that's very different than their mother living with the grandma, in my opinion.
Yeah.
In terms of setting values and boundaries and all sorts of other things. Like if the grandma was living with them as a family, that I think is a very different conversation.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I think I agree with both of what you guys are saying. And in that case, I think the mom just needs to switch what she's worried about and the boundaries she's trying to create. It shouldn't be like focusing on the daughter's relationship, because the daughter's going to do what the daughter's going to do. Yeah. I think if you're letting her be in your home to get back on her feet, then those are the rules that need to be in place. You need to show me that you're putting $100 a week in your savings account. You need to show me that you're, holding down a job, things like that. Like if she's not doing those things, then, maybe it is time to, I would keep the grandkids, but maybe say, okay, look, you can't be here anymore, because you don't want to put the grandkids in like a sticky situation where she's now like moving in with this boyfriend and, the kids are just moving all around. Like that's not good for them. But yeah, I think there's just needs to be different boundaries in place. You're not going to control this 23-year-old. You can get that out of your head right now.
No, they probably couldn't be a teenager either.
Right,
That's
exactly.
probably why this is bringing up, like, it's like old things.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, totally.
Yeah. So I think what you can control is just making sure she's doing the right things to get back on her feet. So, in that 6 months time, in that 9 months time, when you do let your daughter and grandkids leave, they have a place to go. They have a place to stay, they can sustain themselves. But yeah, I don't know if you kick her out right away after 2 weeks. That seems a bit aggressive. But I also have I've been in between apartments before. Like I've had an apartment, they just weren't ready. So I came back to my parents' house because, where else am I going to go? But yeah, I don't know. I don't think I could kick her out after 2 weeks, but I think there would just need to be a time frame there and make sure that she's doing the right things in terms of getting back on her feet.
I mean, there's another alternative as well, which is always my preferred path. And I am guilty of throwing money at problems, probably more than just about anybody. But I would probably say to the daughter, you can't live here, right? Because I could never live with my mom. And I say this because me and my mom have had this conversation.
Right.
I'm like, I can never live with you again, but I will make sure you're never homeless. So if that means I have to write checks, I will write checks.
Right.
And for a period of time until you can stabilize and get on your feet. And that's exactly what I did with my mother. It was a 10-year set of checks, but after 10 years, she was able to sustain herself. And, you could very easily have the daughter, get an apartment for the daughter, pay the rent or split the rent or help subsidize her and the kids in some way. So she maintains some independence. She's out of your hair, and say, I'm going to support you for 6 months. And after that, you're on your own. Right. I mean, that gives her the ability to be an adult, to be a mom, to maintain her independence. Because I think it's really challenging for kids when their mom can't take care of themselves, let alone the children, right? And I'm so sensitive to it because I grew up in that world where my mom was not able to take care of herself.
Yeah. All right, guys, don't forget to send in your anonymous questions. Thanks.